Oi, como vai? Tudo bem? Welcome back to Portuguese Lessons with Professor Jason. In this class, what I'd like to focus on is the pronunciation of vowel combinations in Brazilian Portuguese. So we'll be talking about how to pronounce words in which two vowels appear right next to each other. Now, many times we'll pronounce these vowels together in a single syllable. That's known as a diphthong. Other times, the two vowel combinations are going to be separated into distinct syllables, which is called hiatus. Now, to understand this topic a little better, I think we need to review the notions of syllables and vowel sounds in general first, just as a review. As you recall, syllables are the distinct sound units that comprise words, and they always have a vowel as their nucleus. Take a look at the following sentence and feel free to pronounce it along with me, okay? Pay attention to the syllable division. Ele mora na casa grande que fica perto do terminal de ônibus. Once again, ele mora na casa grande que fica perto do terminal de ônibus. Alright, as you can see and hear, these words are comprised, each of them, of one or more syllables, each having a vowel sound as its nucleus. And notice that I said vowel sound, because what we're really talking about here are the vowel sounds, not necessarily the vowel letters. Although, for the most part, letters are a good predictor of sounds in Portuguese, but more on that later. Brazilian Portuguese, as you know, has 8 primary oral vowel sounds. Although these can vary somewhat depending on the regional dialect used, their position relative to other sounds in the word or phrase, and especially whether they occur before, during, or after the most prominent or strongest syllable in a word, known as the tonic syllable. So on the next slide, we can see the 8 simple oral vowel sounds of Brazilian Portuguese. And these are, first of all, the open A that we hear in página or casa. Some people also talk about the closed A in words like cama, pânico, atlântico. It's somewhat related to the phenomenon of nasalization. We also have the closed E in words like mesa, ele, vejo. The open E we hear in words like ela, pedra, até. We have, of course, the vowel I or E, vida, triste. The closed O, toda, avô. The open O, nove, relógio, posso. And finally, the U or U, mudar, único. Mudar, único. Alright, now the vowels I and U, or the E and U, are often referred to as weak vowels. In contrast, the other vowels are often called strong vowels. A diphthong involves the occurrence of a strong vowel and a weak vowel pronounced together in the same syllable. In these cases, the weakened and shortened E or U sound can come before or after the strong vowels, and in that case it's called a semivowel, a semivowel. Okay? Now we should also mention, as you know, that Portuguese also has some nasal vowels, some simple nasal vowels, 5 to be exact. We're going to review those really quickly too, because later on we will be talking about the nasal diphthongs, okay? So the simple Portuguese nasal vowels, in Brazilian Portuguese I should say, are the following: nasal A, frango; nasal I, tentar; nasal I, sim; nasal O, bom; and the nasal U, comum. Okay? Now, so far, of course, I've been using words that only have one vowel per syllable, because we've been discussing single or simple vowels. But many times we see words in Brazilian Portuguese with 2 consecutive vowels. Here are some common examples, and we'll have many more before the class is done. Take a look at these words and feel free to pronounce them along with me. Cadeira, saudade, joia, glória, água, sueca, coração, lições, saída, ciúme, lagoa, teologia, etc. Each of these words has at least one sequence of 2 consecutive vowels. The question then becomes, how do we actually pronounce these 2 vowel sequences? Are they pronounced together as diphthongs or separated into distinct syllables? If you listen closely to the list again, okay, you can hear a difference between how I pronounce the sequences in the first 8 words versus those in the final 4. Alright? Now let's talk a little bit about diphthongs in particular. Remember, A diphthong is the pronunciation of two vowels together in a single syllable. In the first 8 words from the list we just saw, the vowel combinations are pronounced together in the same syllable as diphthongs. Just to review, here they are again. Glória, água, sueca, cadeira, saudade, joia, coração, lições. Now, we should and can make several important observations about these diphthongs as examples. Okay? First, of course, each case involves 2 consecutive vowels pronounced together in a single syllable. That's what a diphthong is. Second, related to that, each of these diphthongs has a strong vowel and a weak vowel represented by the letters E or I and U. In the nasal diphthongs, in the words coração and lições that we just saw, the I and the U are replaced by the vowels E and O, respectively. Third, a third observation, the weakened, shorter semivowels E and U can occur before or after the stronger vowel sounds, right? So, when they occur before the stronger vowel, when the semivowel comes first, we talk about it being a rising diphthong. When the semivowel comes after the stronger vowel, we call those falling diphthongs. So, from our list, right, the rising diphthongs would be glória, água, sueca. And the falling diphthongs would include the words cadeira, saudade, joia, coração, lições. Okay? The nasal diphthongs are falling diphthongs. A fourth observation is that the stronger nuclear vowels in diphthongs can either be closed or open vowels. So we have closed vowels like cadeira or lições, but we also have cases where the strong vowel is open, like in joia or sueca. Okay? Fifth and finally, the diphthongs can occur in stressed or unstressed syllables. Okay? So the diphthong can actually be the tonic syllable, or it can be a pre-tonic or a post-tonic. In tonic position, we saw words like sueca, cadeira, joia, coração, and lições. Words that have the diphthong in an unstressed position, glória, água, and saudade. Okay? All right. Although in general the letters A, E, and O, A, E, O, represent strong vowels and their occurrence side by side in a word usually indicates that they should be pronounced in separate syllables, keep in mind that spelling does not always reflect actual pronunciation. For example, the letters we associate with strong vowels can sometimes represent weak vowel sounds, as you can see on this slide. Okay, in that case, they tend to be pronounced as diphthongs. So we have words like mágoa, aérea, gêmeo, nasal, impõe. Okay? There are also some other cases in which single or simple vowels really turn out to be diphthongs because certain consonants are actually pronounced as weak vowels. So it looks like we only have one vowel, but because of the way the consonant is pronounced, we really have a diphthong, 2 vowels. These words are examples. Mal, lençol, alto, item, falam. Those final 2 verbs are actually nasal diphthongs. Item, falam. Alright, now I've prepared a slide here with words that each have diphthongs, just for practice, alright? These words are good examples for practicing a variety of diphthongs, and they can help us to recognize patterns that might apply to other words. So let's go ahead and practice them, and you say them along with me, alright? We have words like piada, área, carie, calendário, gêmeas, língua, tênue, vácuo, pai, seita, hotéis, moita, heróis, fui, ruivo, mal, mal, eu, judeu, céu, chapéu, ouvir, roupa, gol, fugiu, tio, mãe, cartões, muito, item, também, contração, falam. Alright, so all of those words are examples of words that do have diphthongs, a strong vowel, weak vowel, or weak vowel, strong vowel combination, including some nasal diphthongs there at the end. Okay, let's quickly talk a little bit about hiatus before we wrap up our class here. As I mentioned before, we don't always pronounce two consecutive vowels together in the same syllable. Sometimes the vowel sounds are separated into two distinct syllables, each having about the same intensity. Now we can see from the following pairs of words. They illustrate this difference between pronouncing words that have diphthongs and those that have vowel hiatus. Similar but different. Let's take a look. We have a pair like país and país, the second being hiatus, or seria and seria. You can hear that separation on seria, or sueca, diphthong, Suiza, hiatus. All right. You can also hear this separation or hiatus clearly in the two vowel sequences in the last four words of that first list I presented earlier. Okay, if you want to go back and take a look at those words. Okay, here they are. Saída, ciúme, lagoa, teologia. That last word, teologia, actually has two instances of hiatus. As I explained earlier, if both consecutive vowels are strong vowels, they tend to be pronounced in separate syllables, especially when either is part of the tonic syllable. Here's some examples. Teatro, voa, leem, doer, cooperar. Those are all words in which both vowels are considered strong vowels, and we have hiatus. Another class of words whose consecutive vowels are pronounced separately are those whose second vowel has a written acute accent, like the following examples. Saída, açaí, cafeína, egoísmo, ruído, saúde, gaúcho, reúne, viúva, ciúme. So those words all have accents on the second vowel in the sequence. Now, a more difficult rule to remember is that these same types of combinations are pronounced separately but have no written accent when the second vowel in the apparent diphthong is followed by the letters L, R, or Z, or, stick with me, by letters indicating a nasal consonant cluster like ND or NH. So, the following words don't have written accents, but their vowel sequences, which would appear at first to be diphthongs, are actually separated into hiatus. Here are those examples. Raiz or raiz, Raul, cruel, cair, ainda, rainha. Okay, those vowels are separated into hiatus. Now finally, and here we see a big difference between the accent rules for Spanish and Portuguese. When a word ends in the sequence IA, and the stress falls on the I sound, the vowel sounds are separated into hiatus and no written accent is used. So here are some examples of that rule. Teologia, melancia, faria, comia. In each of these cases, we have separation of those final vowels. Teologia, melancia, faria, comia. Alright, that's all I have for today. I know it's been a long lesson, but hopefully you'll be able to go back, you can review, you can find something useful in all of these rules and examples. Okay? And as always, I welcome your questions, your comments, and suggestions, so let me know what you think, okay? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Até logo. Ciao.